And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie back with Faust Ruggiero. Our final segment here is we talk about clinical depression and anxiety and ways to beat it. Are there natural ways, Faust, that people can beat it by just doing something themselves?
You know, George, in combination with a healthy living style. Again, that's what I'm teaching. That whole, get yourself balanced. Kind of a thing. That's great. Get those things done. Then you can take the herbs, and there's a lot of things. There's stem cell wellness that we're seeing. We're seeing people work with a lot of herbs and amino acids. Those kind of things are great ways to do. It's back to the same premise. When we at the top of the hour when we started talking, where I said, let's get the body healthy. Let's have an efficiently running machine, so to speak. And if you can say that, most people who don't have the anxieties and the depressions. And if it's there, it's very manageable. But it's getting yourself very healthy first.
That's so important. It really is. And do family members help? How do they handle somebody with depression and anxiety?
Well, family members either help, or they can be
contribute to it, right?
For all this that's happening, families, are emotional entities. So they can be the good family members are the ones that listen. They say, okay, fine, let me validate what you're saying. Let me listen to it. I may not agree with it, but let me at least hear what you got to say, and then and I'll be with you I'll be there for you to help you do some things if we need to.
It's amazing. Back to the calls we go. David in Sarasota, Florida. Hey, David, go ahead, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. You are on a topic that is hitting home to me like I can't put into words. I got hit with COVID about 2 months ago, and it lasted for over 4 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
My health anxiety, which I've always been kind of a chronic health anxiety nut anyway, every little twinge, every little thing set me off. And then I got desperate, really desperate, went to the doctor. Of course, they gave me some pills. I took one of those. I immediately threw those in the garbage for the side effects. I couldn't handle it. And then I got desperate and went on iHeartRadio and looking at podcasts. And I was listening to a guy called The Anxiety Guy, and I started to learn about health anxiety, and I started to learn about my subconscious being nothing more than my inner child that's just looking to protect me but doesn't know the difference between a tiger in the room and sitting at a traffic light.
How do you feel now, David? Good?
I'm getting better, but like I'm learning from listening to experts like your guest tonight and Dennis, the Anxiety Guy. What I'm learning is that you have to. It takes time, and you have to. When you take something away and you try to teach that inner child, your subconscious mind, something new, when you have to go slowly, because when you remove something, you got to put something else back in there.
That's right.
And don't fear it. And every time I'd have a palpitation, oh, am I having a heart attack? Or my stomach would cramp up. Oh, is my diverticulitis flaring up? It's just every little body sensation would send me into a panic, and I became a health anxiety. And then and I'm a people pleaser, and I find myself apologizing too much and trying to please everybody when I'm taking them fishing, to the point where, like, if they're not catching 70 snook in a trip instead of 50, 20 and having a good time, I'm nervous, and I start getting palpitations. I get nervous. I get shaky, and then I have to start breathing deep through my nose, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. Remind yourself, Dave, they're going to have a lot more fun if they only catch 20 snook instead of 70.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts, Faust?
Dave, I'll tell you what, as you're talking, I'm saying to myself, all you really need, if you haven't done it already, is to be able to sit down at least once a week with somebody. And I'm not talking about online. The world's gone online for everything, but those of us who have been doing this for a long time know that the best counseling, regardless of what you hear, is that one-on-one, go in the office, sit down with a person and talk. And I think you're going to put a lot of your stuff in perspective. That's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing from you is that it's not way out there. There's no major problems. It's just that I think I'm hearing that you may have been trying to do this yourself for a long time, and lots of people do. I always tell people you got to consider yourself worthy of it. Hey, you know what? This is me. I want to do what's right for me. Go sit down if you haven't already, and just talk with someone and go through all these things. it gets you out of your own head. It gets you just hearing another perspective on it. You're putting two minds into the same problem. It's a nice way to work.
It's not a quick fix, is it?
Never. You know what? But no life is. You and I are. We're doing our businesses for all these years. You can go back for your early days in radio. What were you making? Maybe $100 a week if you were lucky. And now you stick with it, and here you are. And it's the same thing as I've done. I started out. Geez, I came out of grad.
Now I'm making $125 a week.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. You stole my line there, George. But the point is, you stick with it, and it's not a destination. You're not trying to get to some particular point. You're getting to the point where you enjoy working on yourself. That's the key to this. That's the key to getting better, is to say, you know what, I like working on me. I like going in and talking to somebody. I like doing all these things because this is my life. This is me. And I should like that. I should be able to say that every day I get up, I like working on me. That's the mindset that you want to have if you're going to work on something. If it becomes a chore, like any other thing in life, you're going to hate doing it, and you're not going to want to continue. Don't worry about the destination. Enjoy the process day to day.
We're taking calls with Faust Ruggiero. Let's go to Marcia in Los Gatos, California. Welcome to the program. Hi, Marcia.
Hello, George. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Glad we got you in here.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, your voice, George, calms my anxiety.
Well, thank you very much.
I have a couple comments and a question for your guest.
Okay.
We live in such an unnatural world with so many chemicals, excitotoxins, and electromagnetic fields all around us. I was wondering, how often do you find that someone's anxiety is caused by a physical condition? And I must say that I want to tell people that a lot of people hold their breath. And when they hold their breath, it changes their acidity in their body. And I say exhale completely before you take in your deep breath. And I just wanted to say, often there's a physical reason, in a bad tooth or anemia or some other physical situation. How often do you find that any of your clients actually have a medical condition that's causing their anxiety?
Good question. Go ahead, Faust.
Excellent question. And, when people come to me, the first thing I'm going to ask them to do is to get that physical stuff in order. Go. Let's get the blood work going. Let's find out what we have there. Let's do a real good history, take a history on what's going on in their lives. Where are they living? Are you around? I had an example, a fellow that came in and had huge anxiety situations, but he lived near a power plant, an electric power plant. Well, what was coming off that grid, half a mile from his house was causing him horrendous problems. So, when I do my intakes, when I do my information gathering, I try to go to all the various places. It's medical, it's environmental, it's family, it's physical, it's all those things, because that's going to give me my picture. And unfortunately, that's the art that we're losing. That's what we're seeing. That's not happening enough online. For example, those are the old style practitioners like myself and a few others yet are going in. We're spending a lot of time in the first 2 or 3 sessions getting a tremendous amount of information. Then we put a program together based on that information.
Why does it seem that slow, deep breaths help a lot?
Well, it's first of all, it's cleansing the body. That's the first and most important part of it. But it's also slowing down the body. But there's an interesting third part to that, George, is that when you begin to focus on your breathing, you are putting your mind in a position to operate in the present, in the actual moment you're living in. That is huge, because many people, as far have their problems coming from their past, or they're anticipating a future, which is is causing so much anxiety. If we get people to get conscious and get right in the moment they're living in, that helps. Focusing on your breathing helps that occur.
Absolutely. Next up, let's go to Ray in Wilson, New York. Welcome to the program. Hi, Ray. Go ahead, sir. Ray, you with us? Got to let you go, Ray. But let's try Eric in Huntsville, Alabama. Eric, take it away.
Oh, hello there, George. How are you doing?
Great, Eric. Hope you are too.
Conversation. I have a PhD in physics and electrochemistry, and so this is very interesting. You know, the brain is actually an electrochemical organ, and anything we put into our bloodstream, any of these psychotropic drugs are going to have some kind of an effect, usually a negative effect. It may be short term, but, you know, physicians, psychologists, psychiatrists, you know, they're prescribing, not psychologists, I guess, but psychiatrists are prescribing a lot of these medications for a very long time. They're prescribing incorrect mixtures of them, incorrect dosages.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who are taking these are probably worsening their conditions in many cases. It's been found that exercise, generates the endorphins, and many people who are depressed, if they just get out of their easy chair at home and take about a 3-mile walk, they wouldn't be depressed in many cases. It's also a diet problem. I mean, people are consuming so many bad foods, fried foods. You know, it's been found that high cholesterol levels decrease the activity of neurons, the brain cells, and so a lot of this is due to our culture, our current, eating habits. And but one thing I wanted to mention or ask your guest there, I heard recently it's been published that anti-anxiety drugs have been proven to cause Alzheimer's disease. I would like to have his comment on that if he's aware of that kind of information.
Okay, thanks, Eric. You're welcome. Go ahead,
That's a
Faust.
good question. And again, we're back into that side effects on the drugs. I've seen some of that research. I don't know that it has come to a conclusion yet, but they are pointing in directions where, again, you're taking the brain, and you're right. You're dealing with the electricity and all that, the way the brain functions. And what you've done with anti-anxiety medications is take the functioning of the brain down. That's what we've done. So anything that does that over a long period of time has to have an effect on the brain's ability to perform. So now you've said, okay, I'm going to take your performance level brain and I'm going to push it down. Well, the long-term effect of that, it can't be good. So that's why I tell you, when people come in and they're on an anti-anxiety med, I want to get them, through this, I want to get them to understand how to deal with their problem, the environmental circumstances, the physical, the emotional, whatever's going on in their lives, and then eventually get them off of that. I don't want them on that a long period of time.
What do you recommend that a family member who may be listening to this program, who has a relative or a part of their family who has depression and anxiety, what do they do?
First order of business is get them to a professional, because family will say, so and so is depressed or they're anxious, and they're looking at what they're looking at are the symptoms, or what they do this or the self-reports, whatever it may be. Let's get them to someone who can sit down and do what I just said. Take that intense family history, social history, physical, all those sorts of things, medical. Let's get in there and let's really see what's going on. Let someone who's skilled, who's trained in this, say, okay, not only do they have anxiety or depression, what type do they have, where is it coming from, and then we can put together a treatment plan for that person.
Now, when you hit the deck with your patients, how do you start? How do you start a session?
The first order of business, two things happen in the first session. We talk about establishing a rapport. Let's make sure that we're feeling good about working with each other, and that's usually something I have no problem with. And then we'll go into let's get some information. I'm going to say, okay, talk to me. What do we got going here? They'll say something like, gee, I don't know where to begin. And I say anywhere, because I'm going to know where to go with it. So we open it up, and I say, let's just talk to me. Just start flowing. Get the words out. We go from there. They start talking. I start asking questions. I get all the information I need, and then right around the last 10 minutes of the session, I'm going to say, okay, based upon what you told me, initial reactions, this is what I see. This is where I think I want to start going. And not almost always, they'll say, fantastic. Someone is finally saying to me, we have a direction. That's what they're looking for.
And somebody who has these conditions, they shouldn't be embarrassed because they have them, right?
What I'm telling, and I've told people for decades, what you have is physical first. And it's just a puzzle we're going to put together, and we're going to get you where you need to go. The last thing you want to do is be concerned about, gee, I have to go get some help. Be grateful that it's there, but then it's looking back at yourself. Either the other person's embarrassed or say, I'm weak, I have to go there, or you're going to say, you know what, I'm worthy. I'm definitely worthy of that. I'm good enough to go and get there. When I get there, I am going to fix this, and I'm going to be strong.
You got it. I really enjoyed our discussion. Come on back again, okay?
Hey, anytime you want me, George, I'm there.
All right, my friend. Be well. The name of his books are all linked up at coasttocoastam.com. The Fix Your Anxiety Handbook, the Fix Yourself Handbook, website linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Up next, are you